everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I see some of you have already started putting putting where you're joining us from in the chat. I'd like to invite the rest of you to continue to do so, as this will be a great way for us to connect and see who's joining us today. But as we get started, I'd like to go ahead and first welcome you to this lovely panel. Today, you're going to have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about Hult, about career development and life after Hult, and also get to speak with some of our experts, our panel of students and recent alumni. So yes, please continue to go ahead and put your location in the chat. Should you have questions throughout our call today, please feel free to put them in the Q&A box that you'll find there in the Zoom box, and we will get to those at the end of our session today. But to help us get started, I'd like to first introduce myself and a little bit about Hult Career Development so we understand where we're starting off from. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dawn Galt-Watson, and I am the head of careers for Hult EMEA. So in my role, I oversee our amazing career development teams and employability initiatives across Hult's London and Dubai campuses. And that includes Hult Undergraduate London, which is actually where I got my start at Hult over 5 years ago now. So yes, we do help Hult students find a job, find an internship, figure out what their career path looks like. But what we really specialize in, beyond just finding a job, is finding a meaningful career. And I'm sure our panel will laugh at me, or probably are with their cameras off, because I talk about this a lot, this idea of a meaningful career. And what a meaningful career is will be different for each and every one of you on this call today, because it's a career that allows you to utilize the skills that you most enjoy using, where you get up and feel motivated to come into work, even on a rainy, gray Monday morning. And that's our mission, is to find you a career path that isn't just a job, but that starts you off on a long and happy career. So that is our mission. Now, how am I able to help you with this? Well, very similar to the professors at Hult, I have a practical employability experience. So prior to joining Hult, I've had over 10 years of experience in employability. First, starting off with what was then the largest job board in the United States, consulting with C-level executives on their recruitment strategy, then becoming a recruiter and HR manager, before moving into higher education, doing career development and helping students figure out their path. First in my hometown of Chicago, and now here with Hult London in my 5th academic year. Now, in addition to working with our students, I have the most talented team of career advisors who, in addition, also come from employability. So here you see our teams at our Boston campus as well as London Undergraduate. All of them are former recruiters who have been on the other side of the desk and understand why recruiters are asking questions, what employers might be looking for, and know how to help with those negotiation tactics. And the real core of what we do at Hult, as I'm sure many of the students on the panel will share with you, is we want to get to know you individually. Although I'm going to show you a high-level overview of our career methodology, there is no one-size-fits-all process to career development because each of you is unique. And so knowing that, we want to make sure we get to know you each individually and help you build out your unique career strategy. So that is why when I speak with some of my master's or MBA students who are 5 to 10 years out of their undergraduate program, and I ask them, what was it? Tell me about your career development process at your undergraduate program. Many of them say they didn't even engage, and that's not how we work. We want to get to know you and help you with facilitating professional introductions and helping you understand your new international campus. So what are the results of this unique student-centric approach? Well, as you can see from the class of 2019, we're doing pretty okay. 99% of the class of 2019 were either pursuing a further degree or had full-time employment post-graduation. And there below, you can see what is that employment type and how does it break down with students going into full-time jobs, working in postgraduate internships that are usually with very prestigious companies and therefore last quite a bit longer, maybe 6 months to a year. 8% took their new knowledge and experience to their family business to help elevate the company, and 4% have started their own business. Entrepreneurial mindset is one of the core values that we have at Hult, and we do like to cultivate these opportunities for those more entrepreneurial students to share these insights and grow those in-demand skills. Now, if you are looking to switch country, which as someone now with an international career, I can say is fantastic, 56% of our Hult undergraduates, graduates, are now working in a country different than their country of origin. And you might be asking, okay, that's great, but where are they working? As mentioned, we focus on a meaningful career, which means not everyone's going into one certain industry, one certain sector. So you can see here, there's a wide variety, whether it's big technology and e-commerce companies like Amazon, maybe looking into the financial sector like Bloomberg, one of the big consulting companies like Deloitte, or working more in FMCG, Estee Lauder, Uniqlo. These are all different areas that our students have gone into, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, as our team will tell you in a few minutes. So how do we get there? Well, first, we understand that you need to have these digital tools and resources so that at 3 o'clock in the morning, if you want to work on your CV, you have that opportunity. So we've built a library of really great content to help you be self-designed and proactive. But additionally, we offer skills workshops. So our employability experts have put together engaging content so that you can learn with your peers and learn these in-demand employability skills, like how to interview with in a persuasive way, how to be more strategic in your job search. And again, the core of what we do is getting to know you individually. So one-on-one advisory. You're able to book with one of our talented career advisors through our online platform and meet, whether it be on Zoom, very similar to this, or hopefully soon when we're back on campus, face-to-face, to walk you through all of the tools and resources needed. And as I know our team is going to share with you, networking is key. 70 to 80% of jobs are never posted online. So if your main strategy is going to LinkedIn and clicking apply a lot, it's going to be very frustrating and you probably won't get too far. So we are going to bring employers, alumni, and corporate contacts to students with the opportunity to network. To go a little bit more in depth on this process, I'd like to introduce the Career Development Roadmap. It's the methodology that we utilize across all of Hult's global campuses, from our BBAs to our MBAs. Now, this is a unique path for each student. So there is not a linear movement through it. We're able to work with you in partnership with your career advisor to figure out where you are and help you build a more impactful, effective strategy. So you will notice that ROAD stands for a few separate steps here in the roadmap. First, there's reflect. So understanding yourself and doing some self-exploration. It's very difficult to decide at the age of 17 or 18 what you see yourself doing 10 years from now. To be honest, I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was about close to 30. And so with that in mind, we want to help you figure out what skills you're not only good at, but you enjoy using. What are your professional values so that you can find a company who aligns with yours? So we have tools and exercises and classes where we'll get to help you with that process. And observe, this is where we want to push you out into London. So we like to say that the city is your classroom. And very soon, once hopefully we're not fully online, you'll have the opportunity to meet with different companies, alumni, and professionals. We have a fantastic corporate relations team who work to cultivate relationships across professional networks to bring these professionals into the classroom or into the campus or in a virtual stage so that you can learn firsthand what does it take to do a job in consulting. If I want to start my own business, what have Hult alumni done to be successful in this space? And really cultivate that idea of mentorship. Then step 3 is accelerate. You need to have specific tools to help you be successful in your job or internship search. And so you work closely with your career advisor on your resume or CV, building your professional brand online and also on LinkedIn, and making sure that you're being strategic and targeted in your job search process. And we have tools and resources to support you throughout. And finally, drive. As mentioned, you have a team of former recruiters who know the ins and outs of interviewing. We love a mock interview. It's a great way for us to help coach you on how to be persuasive in your answer. We also have put out offer letters and done offer negotiation. So we're always happy to look through those offer letters and give you any feedback, because I do understand how unnerving it could be to come into a new country, not understanding the employment laws. So we are absolutely here to support that. And then throughout your time at Hult, you have the opportunity to learn through doing. And the best way to do that is internships. So during your time at Hult, you'll have the opportunity to do 3 academic internships for credit. And this is a great way to learn what type of role is most meaningful to you, build a network, and start figuring out what that life will look like after Hult. And again, we have a whole lot of opportunities here for industry speakers, a career forum where alumni come back to hire Hult students specifically, and digital resources. Now, that does it for me. But what I would like to do now is introduce you to people who are living this experience. So these are some of our current students and recent alumni who are have worked directly with the careers team, have been successful in landing some amazing internships and jobs, and who have volunteered their time today to join us and share some of these insights with you. So hi, everybody. Good to see you all. All right, so first off, I'd love for everybody to do a brief introduction. Introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your career journey and your career journey with the career development team. So I'm just going to start from whoever is at the top of my screen here, and that would be Manuel. Manuel,
okay, Dawn. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Dawn. Hi, everybody. Yeah, my name is Manuel. I'm currently a final year student here at Hult. I started my journey at Hult in, I think, 2018 it is now, or 3 years ago. I'm the president of the student association, so I think I know the school quite well. And yeah, no, so the past year, I was an intern at Bloomberg and secured myself a full-time offer, which I then turned down, which we probably will get into, a little later. Before that, I kind of had a bit in the past where I dabbled in executive search, which is headhunting. So working with CEOs, all in CA, like generally anything that is in the C-suite. And very much before that, I actually had a bit of a career in the fine arts, so and anything in terms of museums and theaters. So that was pre-Hult. And now I'm a bit on a weird track at the moment. I'm very interested in political economy, which is why I've decided that I'm going to pursue a master's that I'm going to start this fall. Which is a master's in political economy of Europe and China, where I'll be spending 1 year in the UK and 1 year in Shanghai, China. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, Manu. Fernanda, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So I am Fernanda. I am currently Assistant Brand Manager for Innovations in Tata Consumer Products. I started my Hult journey in 2017, and I recently graduated last summer. And so during my time at Hult, I did a couple of internships at startups, which was pretty fun. And it was great to really engage with the careers team. That's how I got those internships, where I was able to have these one-on-one, as Dawn mentioned, really exploring what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, and how I could get these experiences to make sure that I was ready for the job when the time came. So this very good. And then I guess once we get into more of the questions, I'll expand into how Curious has really helped me, or did help me into my path here.
Lovely. Thank you, Fernanda. It's so lovely to see you again. I love when alumni come back. All right. Next on the Zoom board is Ilya.
Thank you, Dan. Hello, everyone. I am Elia Lorenzi. I'm 24 years old, and I'm from Italy. I started my Hult journey as manual in 2018, and yeah, the 2 years gap is because before choosing the university, I had a kind of a different career, especially compared to what I'm doing right now. It's kind of fun to think about the past. I was a bartender for 2 years, and yeah, now I have to say that my life completely changed. Basically, I mean, mainly thanks to Hult. Um, I 1 year and a half ago, I started um, collaborating with a career team, and I started my research for the internship, and I managed to secure an internship with Amazon, which of course then was virtual, because I actually received the offer at the moment of uh, the COVID disruption, was the exact period. Um, but yeah, fortunately, because Amazon is such an amazing company, they managed to still keep the internship program running, and apparently that the experience was good enough for them to call me back, and now I'm about to start my second HR internship in just a month, and this time hopefully will be on site, and yeah, I also I will speak about later about how I discover my passion in HR, because I also have another role at Holt in HR. So it would be a pleasure to tell you about that.
Lovely. Thank you, Ilya. And last but certainly not least, we have Martina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Martina. I'm Italian and I'm 21 years old. I started my journey at Holt as Elian Manu in 2018. And it has been a very fun experience, I must say. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye very soon, like less than a month. Now I'm working on my bachelor thesis, and I'm a finance major. And I personally started engaging with the careers team. I remember it was in first year, second or third month of university, and I think this is very important. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more in depth later. However, Holt and the careers team really helped me build my CV. Learn how to do networking, and that's how I got into, for example, Harvard Summer School in the first year. And with another Hult students, we were the only two Europeans that got into Harvard Summer School. And moreover, I always had the chance to get job offers, summer one, summer two, and one of those actually I found on the my career website, Hult My Career website, and it has been a very, very nice experience, because it started as a startup and now is developing as a very big consulting company that is also based in Dubai. So from this, we can certainly understand how disrupting, for example, and starting from startups, and they can just grow very much. And it's very useful to gain those insights and skills from them. In October 2020, so I received a very big job offer from a very big company. Unfortunately, I cannot disclaim it yet, but Sarah, for example, from the careers team has helped me a lot with that, and I want to thank her. And I'm sure you guys will have some very good experience with Sarah or Dawn or Mandy when she'll come back to the London campus, I guess, and they will help you with everything: interviews, CV, and they will be always available for you. So yes.
Lovely. Thank you, Martina. And yes, I cannot speak highly enough of our career advisors. Yeah, we're a bunch of people who love helping students figure out what's next. So with that in mind, I'm going to jump into a few questions. And then as a reminder, if you have questions that we do not cover, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box. And at the end of our planned questions, we will circle back to them and ensure all of your questions are answered. So first, Manu, when did you start engaging with careers?
Good question, Don. No, so funny enough, I mean, it's actually the first interaction with careers I ever had was you. So that was in early 2018. I attended, so I was accepted into Hult, and I was invited to the Accepted Students Weekend, which of course I think this year is still virtual, but for me back then was in person here in London. And so I think we were at one of the evening events, and me and Dawn kind of just catched up a little bit because she had presented a little bit of a presentation like she did today. And I was like, hey, Dawn, listen, the thing for me is I'm coming from an arts background. So I was working at the German National Theatre at the time, and I wasn't sure if business was something for me. And so I said, I think I kind of asked her, do you think that Hult has any resources, to kind of help me in terms of advance my career in the arts, or if I ever want to, if I ever want to shift, do I have a place here? And Don really, really reassured me. And I think even at the time, we kind of took 10 minutes to just, kind of consider what could one do in London with the West End, which is, for example, I think, like London's biggest theatre district. We kind of talked a little bit about my preferences. Do I want to go into producing? Do I want to be in content production, or do I want to be an artist? And all these kind of things that immediately were like popping off, and I felt very comfortable. And yeah, I think 3 years later now, I think I'm very well set with many of my career things. I'm very happy. I think, for example, Bloomberg last year hasn't it's 10,000 applications for 20 spots, which Dawn helped me out once again. And so yeah, so that's kind of my journey with the careers team.
Lovely. Yep, it was very nice. That was a good party too. Don't worry, guys, we'll get back to parties soon. Does anyone else have anything to add about when they started working with the career team?
I mean, I just wanted to mention one of the things that I really enjoyed about working with the career team were those workshops that were not necessarily, okay, I'm looking for this specific job and this is what I need, but more developing my skills for when that time came. So from my first term, working on my 30-second elevator pitch, or just learning how to really present myself and so on. That was not necessarily me preparing for a job, but just preparing for, in general, my journey at Hult and this journey of just being a business student, I guess. So I think that also helped a lot.
Amazing. Yes, I agree. Those are some of the skills that we're teaching are not just to help you get a job, but to be successful in business. And let's face it, we're very practical at Hult, right? So whether it's clubs and societies or networking, you can utilize those. Great. So one of the core aspects of any career toolkit, as we know, is the CV or the resume for anyone from the States. Martina, I'm actually wondering, when did you start working on your CV and how was that experience?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a really nice story about this because I'm Italian. And all my friends that went to Italian universities, they never spoke to me about CVs until maybe 3 months ago. So they're already 21 years old. Some of them are 22. And I feel like us young people, young students should know and should have a CV ready already in the first year. And that's why I was motivated, as Fernanda said before, during those workshops to build my CV. Therefore, I went directly to Sarah. As you can tell, Sarah is one of my favorites. I always go and talk to her. And she really helped me. I'm not saying it has been easy, because at the beginning it was really difficult to brainstorm and build your CV. I remember I had to upload it several times, correct it several times. But at the end of the day, I had a competitive advantage over, for example, my friends in Italy, because they had no idea what a CV was, how to write the CV in the perfect way. And like, or if they had a CV, they were using really weird layouts, or and they didn't know that actually you need a very specific layout for CVs, or just basic basic information on how to be to look professional, and like your CV says a lot about you. So yes, I engaged. I remember it was the second and third year, or the third month of 2018, and since then I've been changing my CV regularly. So anytime I have a work, not maybe not a workshop, but maybe with the HMCC, which is the Hult Consulting and Management Club, you can add if you had some experience with consulting companies, if you had, for example, if you participated in challenges, in competitions, you can add your skills, but always look professional. And that's what I learned, for example, from the careers team at Holt. And this also will help you with LinkedIn, because you can upload your CV on LinkedIn, and like recruiters really like that when they can already, you know, have a full description of yourself and your CV attached on LinkedIn. And this is why I suggest to you guys to contact the careers team and get help, because they're there for you and they will do it. It's actually, it's their passion, and you will have a perfect CV in like less than a week, I'm sure.
You try, you know. But no, it's true. The CV is a living document. So I love seeing when in your first year you build that foundation of your CV, and then to see how it progresses over the course of 2, 3, 4 years. Yeah, you're right. We're big nerds for it. So thanks, thanks for that. And again, the template that we provide has been curated by our global team of career advisors. So we come at it from that recruiter perspective as someone who has looked at, I kid you not, thousands and thousands of really awful CVs, like painfully awful CVs. We've seen the good, bad, and the ugly. The template itself, we have some great feedback from employers on it. Great, thank you so much, Martina. So as I mentioned, when we looked through the roadmap, there is no one size fits all process to career development. And as you can see, we offer a lot of different tools, resources, avenues, because we know one thing that might work well for one student might not work well for the other. I'd love to hear about, you know, what type of support worked best for you guys. And actually, Ilya, would you start?
Sure. Thank you so much. So first of all, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Sarah, because as Martina mentioned, she is a great supporter, and for me as well, the support that she gave me was vital, also specifically for Amazon. And I remember the first time that I had a meeting with her, the moment in which, as you said, on the CV, my CV started being like a living document, and I made monitoring the CV and changing it, adjusting it accordingly, routine process. And the approach of Sarah and the career team in general, it is super effective, especially because there are some things that we think that are obvious when it comes to, for example, you did an experience and you just write it down on the CV, but actually there are many details that the career team can help you consider that you cannot do it alone. I can give you an example. I am still an Airbnb host, so I use that experience on my CV. But the first time that I met with Sarah, I had like a couple of phrases describing the role of the host, which is about hospitality. But then Sarah like started asking me strategic questions, for example, okay, but from how many countries are your clients arriving? Put them down, right? All the countries, so you show that you're actually operating on a global scale. Do you have a team? How many people are working with you, collaborating with you? Put them down numbers, because they they are effective for the attention of the recruiters. And now if you look at my first CV and the one that I have now, of course there is Amazon and other stuff, but if you see that part of the Airbnb experience compared with the first one initially, you can see like a huge difference. So the career support of the career team is essential, and it was vital for me. In terms of the different things, as you say, that work different for everyone, I have to say that in my case, I was lucky enough to build a strong relation with a professor that then became a mentor, and he is still my mentor, and it's Giorgio. Um, and also, as you say, at Hult, we enjoy an individualistic approach, as you said at the beginning. And I think that is not, of course, it is about the faculty support and the work that you do, but it's also, at least from my experience, about the professors, because we have great professors and they are often available, or like they show a lot of availability, at least in my case. So I think that taking an advantage of this individualistic approach is, of course, the career support, getting that because it is essential, but also make sure that you build strong relations with professors. If you manage to get one professor to become a mentor for you, that is great, because for me was super beneficial. Um, so yeah, of course, if you're a committed student, that is a little bit easier. Uh, in my opinion, it's not about the GPA competition. It's more about showing that you are curious and that you want to learn, that you are interested. Um, so yeah, wrapping it up, in my case, an hybrid model of Giorgio, the professor at the moment that became my mentor for principle of management and now for HR, um, his support, and then along with the career team support, it was kind of the recipe to get the first HR internship. So I recommend you to take advantage of both of them, the professors and the career team. That was my type of support.
Great, thank you. Did anyone else have any standout areas of support that they found to be the most key?
So I wanted to just mention, aside from the one-on-one that was also very helpful for me, those mock interviews and mock assessment centers were very useful when actually applying for the jobs, and then and doing all of those interviews and the process throughout interviews for different companies. So I remember we had this mock assessment center full day, which was really great to have a one-on-one interview, mock interview, have team assessments. That was also something that I had not done, and then further on in my application process I needed to do. So I really felt prepared once I came in there, because I had practiced. I had gotten a lot of feedback from the careers team onto how to better approach this and what I could do to improve and really showcase kind of what I had to offer to those companies.
Yes, thank you. And that's an excellent point. So many companies, especially for graduate schemes or long-term internships, have these assessment centers, which are like a marathon of an interview. And we are very lucky that with our team being former recruiters, some of them used to work on assessment centers. And so they've brought that knowledge into part of our career offering. So each fall we do offer that opportunity where, we put our recruiter hats back on. Like, I don't know if any of you got to interview with me, but I do like my steel-faced HR manager face to scare people, and walk you through that process and give you that feedback. So I'm glad that was such a valuable resource for you, Fernanda. Lovely. So moving on to my next question. As you recall, there's a lot of influence on the art of networking, right? If you recall from my presentation, and you guys hear me say this a lot, but 70 to 80% of jobs are never posted online. And you would be amazed at how many people that's the only way that they've thought about finding a job or an internship. So I do get that networking can be a daunting task. It can be uncomfortable, but I would love to hear from you specifically about your experiences in the networking process and how that's worked for you and how you got yourself comfortable. And Manu, I know you have some interesting stories to share on networking in London.
Yeah, I think let me put it that way before I actually come to the stories. I think I was once given some advice that I think I've always shared at any, well, that I always like to share. So I was 15 and I was working for one of Germany's national theaters, and the director of that piece told me that it is always good to ask questions, because any person, you know, that you'll encounter is only a human being that will, you know, if they have an answer for you, will give it to you. And the worst thing that can happen is that they will say no. And I've really taken that to like heart since then, and have always just kind of, you know, taken that approach of kind of going ahead and when I meet people or when I want something, to kind of go and get it in terms of by asking. So for example, in the UK, I must say it is very usual that you do an internship in your penultimate year, which is the year before you graduate, in order to get a spot on a graduate scheme. So sometimes it can be a bit harder for you to kind of get an internship in the first year, or, you know, officially at least. So where that is kind of the time where I think a lot of people have to really network and link up to kind of, you know, get their internships in. So I remember that year, my first year, so 2018, 2019, I was on LinkedIn, which, you know, is this social media of career and work. And anyone, you know, that kind of is considering, I think, a career in business, I can only encourage you to get a LinkedIn, to follow the companies that you like and the people that you find interesting, because that is actually nowadays where a lot of kind of career connections are coming from. And so I was on my LinkedIn and I saw, because I'm quite interested in LGBTQ and diversity topics, that there was someone in that space of executive search, so headhunting, that had kind of posted some statistics about, I think, Germany, and he kind of criticized the government and all this kind of stuff. And so I think I just dropped, you know, kind of him a message being like, hey, there's a very interesting statistics, but you are a headhunter, so it's your job to actually find these people. What are you doing about it? So I challenged him in some way, you know, kind of basically saying it's your fault, not the government's fault. And we just, I don't know, we started engaging in a conversation about it. And I think we just, I don't know, talked for the whole evening. And the next morning, I get a call from their HR person from the firm, so from Russell Reynolds Associates, being like, hey, we spoke to Otto. He said he really liked you and we found your number on your LinkedIn. Would you consider doing an internship with us? And that's how I got my first ever business related internship, just by writing with a stranger on the internet for one evening. However, you know, that is of course one form of networking. I think networking goes far beyond that. So in the sense of you really have to kind of keep the people that you think that you also believe in close. I think is something that's quite important. And then, you know, be a good friend, because you never know kind of, you know, who's gonna help you out one day. But also reach out to places that you're interested in. There's always an association for something that you're interested in. There's always an association of, I don't know, football, or an association of horse riding, or something that you can kind of like extracurricular wise, can you accept, like get yourself engaged in. And oftentimes having things in common is what will lead you to kind of, you know, find people that will vouch for you in the long run. Yeah, so I think that's that.
Always a lovely story. And yes, 100% true. Go on LinkedIn, engage, build your professional brand. Those are all things that we can help with. And I will also say that we get how scary it is. So we have templates. We have a really engaged and supportive Hult alumni community globally, who love to come back. We even have not a service, but a program called Hult Hires Hult, where alumni will come back to campus from different companies and offer to meet with students, graduating students, one-on-one. And if they feel like this person is a great fit for the company, may refer them in. which is always a great place to utilize that network. So can't overemphasize that enough. Thank you, Manu. All right. So another really big part of the Hult program is challenge learning. And I'll be honest, when I speak with employers and ask them, why do you keep coming back to Hult? The challenge learning is often one of the things that they mark as a big differentiator, mostly because you're not just learning about business theory in a lecture hall or in a book, but using it in practice with real clients. So I'd love to hear a bit more about challenge learning, what companies you worked with and what you gained from it. And Fernanda, I know you have a good story to share.
Sure. Yeah. So I think throughout my whole 3 years at Hult, in almost every class, I've had a client challenge as part of my kind of final assignments, which has been great because I've had that experience of kind of presenting and really working with a real client from my first term, which was really great. It was something that I was very excited about. So the companies that we've had for challenges, we've had HubSpot, we've had Unilever, we have had Tata, which is where I work now. So the challenge that we had for Tata was in my brand management class. It was about developing a new product for the Tata Consumers product range that would really disrupt the market. So my team and I decided to really work on a new water brand that would really support the portfolio of Tata they currently have. And we presented to a panel of judges that were employees of Tata. So little did I know I was presenting to my future colleagues or now colleagues in Tata Consumer Products, and actually doing something that I'm currently working on. So the things that I was presenting and the things that I was working on with my team are in a way very close to what I'm working on right now in innovations, which is very exciting and something that from the start, I noticed the way in which I approached this challenge really translated to the way in which I'm approaching projects right now in my current job. So this was great to demonstrate to my professor who works at Tata my skills and the way in which I work, so that further down the line, when the opportunity came, I could be referred to the application process for an assistant brand manager, which is what I am now.
Amazing. Always love hearing that. All right. And yes, again, learning through doing is the best way to learn anything, right? So happy to hear that that panned out. And I know a lot of you also had the opportunity to work with different clients. But for the sake of time, because let's face it, I could talk about this stuff all day. We're going to keep moving on. And one of the big questions I get in my first conversation, especially with our undergrads, is, what do you want to do? And there's always, sometimes there's, I know exactly what I want. Other times there's like this deer in the headlights look. And it's okay. We definitely specialize in helping people figure it out. But actually, Ilya, it sounds like you've had a varied career, done a few different things. Were you aware of what you wanted to do when you started at Hult?
So I was not exactly aware. Luckily, what I knew was that I wanted to be in management, but management is a huge field, so it was too general. Again, the kind of the individualistic approach helped me a lot, and it worked well on me. I have to connect a little bit again with the professor relationship, because in my case, Giorgio was kind of the professor, the mentor that helped me clarify the pattern. Actually, now I have a long-term plan which is clear, and I started a step-by-step career, even if I still have to graduate, which seems to be, of course, that you never know what will happen. But I kind of reached a lot of achievements specifically in HR. So it seems like that the career, at least for the first year after graduation, it is kind of set in that field. but yeah, of course, I didn't know exactly what to do. Again, in my case, the eureka moment was during principle of management, because of course I knew at least the field. I was passionate about it, but then just being curious, because Giorgio mentioned HR during that course, and then I wanted to dive deep because I was curious and I didn't know what HR was when I was doing principle of management. so so yeah, now it's I mean, it's only 1 year ago, but actually um, I developed a proper passion for a sector, for a function, and I really did an internship, and I have another role, as I mentioned before. I'm the HR manager of HSC. Maybe I will tell you later about, because it's a society, an extracurricular. Um, so yeah, what was vital for me was to be curious, and at the same time, having Giorgio as a mentor helped me a lot to from management to dive deep into, okay, but management what? uh, so yeah, being curious, and with the support of Giorgio as a mentor, I discover from management then the passion to HR management.
Great. Well, as a former HR person, I welcome you. It is a unique career path for sure. And actually, we talk a lot about we've talked a lot about the big brands, but Martina, I was actually hoping I could ask you a bit about your first internship and how you went from working in something a little bit smaller, and how that process worked. Because very often we have think of the big brands, but there's so many great opportunities at smaller companies for you to grow and really carve out a role for yourself.
Absolutely. So one of the very important advice that the career team at Hult was giving me was go for boutique firms, obviously, because it is very hard to find a first year internship in a big company. Like this is, it's true. So it's better to go to a more niche market, therefore going to boutique firms. And this applies for all the people who wants to do, for example, investment banking. Entering into investment banking is really hard and time consuming as well to fill all the application forms and like keep up with the deadlines. And therefore the best advice is always to start from small boutique firms and then from there start planning your journey. So that's what I did. I didn't do an internship on the first year because I was busy at Harvard Business School. But then on the second year, I found this really exciting job opportunity on my careers. And they were looking specifically just for Hult students, because one of the founders that is a director at McKinsey, she did her MBA at Hult, and she really relied on our growth mindset and our skills and capabilities. And therefore, she was just looking for Hult students. So I worked a lot in this environment. It was a consulting company called Consulton. Now they're expanding. So as I said before, they started as a really small startup. They just had like 10 interns, and it was her and her partner was a director at JP Morgan, and they wanted to build a consulting company. And Consulton is the first consulting company that is only based online. So it's online based, and they have a portal with more than 2,000 consultants from the biggest consulting companies, from the big four. And you can pop in, share your challenge, your problems, and you can pick the consultant that you want. And this is a really great business model. So this was a really great idea that they started. And from a startup, they moved to Dubai. They moved their headquarters from London to Dubai, and now they're expanding every day more. They're going to markets, emerging markets like Africa, and they are well established in China as well. And just 2 weeks ago, we had the opportunity with the Hult Management and Consulting Club to invite Consulton and speak to us students about the opportunities, and to learn also some very interesting models like the McKinsey Growth Horizon models or the pyramid scheme. And I think this is fundamental. So Hult obviously provides opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities. Many of my friends found really nice internships, especially during COVID pandemic, the very first wave that we had from March until July. They found opportunities on my careers. Therefore, I think this is vital, and we learned a lot from it. Those internships were interesting, exciting, and it doesn't matter whether you're doing it online or in person. Obviously, in person, you gain more experience. You have more this idea of like being in the workplace and going to work. Maybe it's even more fun. But I must say, from my experience, I had a lot of fun even doing it online.
Great. I'm very happy to hear it and love hearing Hult alumni coming back and creating opportunity to support the next generation of Hultians. All right. So look, yes, Manu.
Sorry, can I quickly jump in, because I also saw a question in the Q&A. I think that actually matches quite well with the question that you just asked. So someone in the Q&A asked about sacrifices to get a job, and I think I can answer this a little bit, well, quite well, because I've been involved quite in terms of engagement at our uni, but that engagement has helped me so much. So what I'm trying to say is, the person asked how, what sacrifices does one need to make to excel at school and career? And, kind of what time constraint does it come with, and kind of what do you have to do to be able to do both? And I think Hult is a perfect example where you would never consider those sacrifices in a negative light. I think everyone at this university wants you to excel and wants you to take extracurriculars really serious, because especially our career team and our dean knows how important they are. I think our dean, even every year when the new students come in, our dean, asks them to at least enroll in 2 clubs and societies, for example. And so for me, for example, and that's why it matches also with the first question that you asked, I was very involved in our Model United Nations Society, which is a society that kind of does political debate regarding the United Nations system. And I was able to travel the world, as in we went to Oxford and Cambridge. We went to the World Championships in Madrid in 2019. We would have gone to Japan last year, which would have been partially funded by the university. And of course, I'm also, in the student association now for 2 years, going to many, many meetings and many hours spent. And while that may be a time sacrifice, that first of all didn't mean that I didn't have a blast of a student journey here in London, but also is it something that will add so much to your life? As in, I discovered my passion for politics, and especially for political economy. Now I have an interview with the World Trade Organization this summer. I, have many opportunities lined up, that just want me to finally finish my master's in Germany so I can work at the parliament, and all these kind of things that really have come through these opportunities. I'm training the national team of Madrid in Germany next year during my master's. And so I would never consider any extra time spent on developing yourself as a sacrifice. I think that is an absolute wrong saying. I think that is something that you might think, but actually I've had weekends with all these people, with my Model UN people, that we were working, but we were also having the time of our life. And we were I'll never forget, and it only helped me in my career.
Well, I absolutely love to hear that. And oh goodness, looking at the time, I'm going to combine a few of our last questions here, and thanks for grabbing that one off the Q&A, Manu. To wrap up, everyone, I'd love to hear a bit about how Hult has prepared you, not just for this first job or this internship, but how it's prepared you for your career, and what are the things that you'd like to take with you. And if you could give your piece of advice to little freshman you walking into Hult on your first day, what would you say? And we're going to work backwards now because Manu just talked. So Martina, you are up first.
course. I think Hult has a unique selling point, which is that we do a lot of in-class presentations. So this helps very much in the corporate life, in the corporate job, to look professional, to know how to do storytelling, how to talk, how to pitch. And for example, this is something that other universities don't really focus on. And I really discovered myself this gap that there is with other universities. And this is a huge competitive advantage that Hult students have if they know how to use this, of course, in a good way, how to take advantage of it. So I guess our hands-on approach, it is very much, very much useful for the corporate life. And at the end of the day, I am majoring in finance. And I must say, for example, for analyst positions, all that we do is on Excel, and we do DCF valuations, discount models. So myself, for example, we had some very interesting class. We had financial markets and institutions, and we had portfolio management. And in these two classes, we had the opportunity to do trading challenges, to do portfolio investment challenges. So for example, in a trading challenge, we just had a time frame, we didn't have a market, and we had to create a trading strategy from scratch that could be applied to any market in the world, to any time frame. And this was very challenging, but at the end of the day, now we're able to manage any kind of task, analyst task, that has been given to us in a corporate job, for example. So I think you students, you guys should really take advantage of this important and vital hands-on approach that we have.
Lovely. Thank you very much. All right, Elia, you're up. Main takeaways and advice for your little freshman self.
Okay, so I also wanted to add about Hult. I totally agree with Martina, even if I'm definitely not a finance guy, but for the rest, I totally agree. I also wanted to highlight regarding Hult the importance of diversity and the global mindset. We have, as you know, we have students from all over the world, and I think it is an amazing competitive advantage. What happened to me is that basically Hult changed my life, not only for the career, but I feel, of course, I can always improve, but I feel radically open-minded, and I love to uh, to develop on this base. Um, so yeah, the diversity and global model and mindset that Hult wants to transmit to the students is, in my opinion, one of the most important thing that Hult has as a university. This is particularly true. I mean, it's always important and true. It is particularly true if you wish to join Fortune 500 multinational companies, because it was changing a lot of teams with different people, with many different perspectives. At Amazon was super challenging, and I felt more prepared in terms of diversity and team working thanks to Hult. So I think that it's vital to take advantage of this global and international model in which Hult operates.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And I couldn't agree more. It's really lovely to see all the different cultures come together at Hult in our community. And again, when I speak to employers and I ask them again, why is it you keep coming back to Hult? It's very often because they know our students speak multiple languages. They work in diverse teams with different mindsets, different ways of doing business, and get the task done and build a team out of that situation. So a wonderful point to make. Thank you so much, Elia. Fernanda.
Sure. So I think that's, as Martina and Leah had mentioned, the hands-on experience and multiculturality are key. But I also wanted to highlight that seeding that entrepreneurial spirit, because although I've always thought I wanted to go into a corporate, I'm currently working on a corporation, my kind of long-term goal is having a toys company. And that's something that I've already started kind of on the side, and that it all started from seeing so many people at Hult really pushing towards having that entrepreneurial spirit, regardless of where you're going or what you're doing, and really pushing towards being innovative and finding new ways of doing things. So that's something that I am definitely taking on from Hult, and that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to use for a long time.
Wonderful, thank you. And yes, entrepreneur, as I mentioned, entrepreneurial spirit is one of our core values. It's something that we like to cultivate and emphasize. And with intrapreneur being a more in-demand job title, as we go back to or go into this new normal in the business world, someone who brings that entrepreneurial mindset into the company, it will definitely serve our students well. That's why we even have a program called Hult Founders Lab for those of you who are thinking, potentially, maybe I want to start my own business. It's our in-house incubator where you have mentors and support from our amazing entrepreneurial faculty. Who doesn't love Daniel? And then also alumni and different contacts who come in to support student entrepreneurs as well. So a beautiful point, and good luck with the toy company. Let me know. I will spam all of the Hult career social media when it launches. Okay. And finally, Manu.
Yeah, you asked for advice that I'd give myself. Well, I think there's two things. I think everyone here at this university is rooting for you. I think that is a very important one. So in the sense of there is not one single person that would not support you. They might not give you free range in doing whatever you want, or might ask you a couple of critical questions, but on a general basis, everyone here is here to support you and like further your career or your aspirations in life, depending on where you're at. So make use of that. However, at the same time, we've all today constantly been talking about career, and everything. There's also no crazy rush, as in live your student life, especially you guys are, if you guys are going to start at Hult this September, you guys are probably the first students that, are able to enjoy themselves in a non-COVID environment. Fingers crossed, I cannot promise, but fingers crossed. So enjoy your student life as well. I think sometimes you can get a little lost in the job hunt, in the hunt of, oh my God, everyone in London is living this busy career life. And it can be a little daunting, and at times it can be a bit breathtaking. Never forget that you're also super young. So in the sense of you have time to develop, you have time to thrive. And there's so many nice things to do in London that please don't miss out on them, only because, you think you have to do certain things. You can really balance both. And I think us four here on the panel today, I think we're the best examples of being able to have a career while also having a great student experience.
Wonderful point. And yes, the career, well, the Hult experience is holistic enough where you can take aspects from, of course, your academics, from clubs and societies, from Hult Business Challenge and these corporate opportunities, working with your career team to help support you and put that all together in your strategy. So at least for me, to tie it all up with a pretty bow, let me say that it's a holistic experience, and everything that you do throughout your time at Hult can be a part of that finding a career, even if it's utilizing the lovely global network that you're going to make amongst your friends who are going to be friends for a lifetime. Again, I get to work with our global alumni, and so many of them who graduated 10 plus years ago will come back and still say, these are the best friends I've had because we had this unique shared experience, and they work together in business as well. So it's a big win-win. So I would like to thank you all so very much for taking the time today, whether it's a morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for taking your time to hear a little bit more about the career program at Hult, hear from our fantastic panel of students and recent alums. And I wish you all a great night or afternoon or whatever, and great rest of your week ahead. And as Manu is putting here in the chat, any further questions, you can find him on Instagram. I also would invite you to follow the Careers Instagram should you like to learn a little bit more about what we're doing as a department, which I will also put in the chat so you can follow along with some of the cool events, internship and job opportunities. And as always, in the spirit of making sure that you are networking and setting that strong example, if you can find me on LinkedIn, which hopefully you should, then please feel free to connect and I'm happy to speak with you. So on behalf of the team here, we are looking forward to hopefully meeting with you in the coming months and welcoming you to the Hult community. Take care, everyone. Thank you.